Hey Kevin, um, pretty good video. You have some good points. I just wanted to critique a few things. You, you're obviously, it seems clear that you're set on a path towards awareness. There were just a few things that I thought you might need some help on. I don't know if this is making sense, but I'm kind of tired right now. You looked pretty tired in your video. You certainly were calm, and that probably is a good way to not get wrapped into the drama that you're talking about, the negativity. But there are times when expressing emotion can help to get your point across. You may want to put a little thought into that. Some specific things that you said that I thought I'd react to. I, I'm not sure who your target audience is, first of all. It, I mean, you were directing it at the amazing atheist, obviously. But at the same time, there seemed to be messages to Simon there indirectly. But perhaps you're trying to reach, I don't know, the amazing atheist's viewers. I don't know. You said you know evil exists. And again, maybe you're tired and you misspoke, but it sounds like you're almost personifying that. Like Satan, or I don't. And I guess my point here is that you can, even while calm, you can end up demonizing someone by kind of objectifying them, dehumanizing them, uh, separating yourself from them, distancing. It can be a tricky thing. I don't know if you may want to look at some of the amazing atheist's other videos to try and find the human that is there. It was interesting. Somebody used the word sugarcoating in a personal message to me recently. They actually said, "Thank you for not sugarcoating your words," and that actually got me thinking that the opposite of that does certainly exist, and that might be referred to as shit coding. And if the problem with sugarcoating is the deception involved, the idea is you have some core message you're trying to convey. Now, sugarcoating, some people like because it makes something easier to swallow, but often we dislike the deceptive nature because it's like they're trying to convince us that what they're telling us is better than it actually is. Now, the opposite of that, and this may be the point of your video, is could be referred to as shit coding. And it's interesting to use that term because it really allows you to think about what's going on. If someone has a positive message at its core, and but then conceals it in something less palatable, few people are going to take the time to sift through, to look inside to see the positive that's there. And I'm not, I think you understand this already, that, when somebody hands this to you, you're likely to say, "What's this shit?" and throw it back in their face. But, hmm. perhaps there is something about you that allowed you to, and it may not be inherent to you. It could be that because you had the advantage of not being directly involved in what's been referred to as shit slinging, because you're off on the sidelines, it's easier to see how useless the activity is. But I think you were a little bit hypocritical yourself. And it's much more subtle. It's not as much coding as just maybe a light glaze or just a dip in one side. But I would suggest you watch your video again. I watched it the night you posted it, and I watched it again the following night with a couple of my friends, and we discussed it a little. And then I even just watched it right now again to kind of refresh my memory and find some of the key points that I wanted to bring up. And you can be a little bit condescending. You several times mentioned learning, but you know, I've kind of learned from our current administration here in the US to be careful whenever I hear statements about why, statements about motivation. I've started to think about the opposite. And an example is you mentioned that you're here to learn a couple times, and the second time it looked like you were searching for words and then may have just decided on using the same word. And I wonder what else you were thinking of saying there, because I'm I'm wondering if you're here more to teach than to learn. I'm wondering if you feel like you have some wisdom that you're trying to deliver to the world, or like you can save people. I mean, this almost ends up seeming religious in a way. Like you've discovered some truth through revelation that you feel like other people can't get on their own. I'm not sure. And I mean, you feel free to tell me your motivations for being here, or you know, expand on the subject. I would be curious. But yeah, I just wanted to make that point that now when I hear someone say something like "I'm here to learn," it immediately makes me think that perhaps you're here to teach. Just think about that. And another example is you said you're not interested in the negativity. And I haven't watched all of your videos, but it seems clear that you were responding to a pretty negative exchange. And again, to come back to the teaching, perhaps you convinced yourself to post this video. Maybe you felt inhibited by your own avoidance of the negative, but you did respond. And I'm not sure. I would think about it. You definitely seem conflicted, internally conflicted. And a lot of these things I'm trying to point out are probably very subtle, and perhaps most people wouldn't notice it. I'm not sure. But think about it. If you are on a concerted path towards changing yourself to become more aware, these are just some minor points you should think about. There was more, but I'm out of time.